Anyway, I
Anyway,
wanted
what's
to
up?
know
Yeah.
if you heard the latest on the space station leak.
So the
Have you
original
heard the?
story was that the space station leak was plugged with somebody's finger, followed by our wonderful revelation that, in fact, I think it was first uh, revealed by you, that the hole that was tweeted by Chris Hadfield, directly from Chris Hadfield, the picture that he used in that little tweet was also used as an album cover from a Christian band called Remedy. What? Remedy what? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah, whatever.
Remedy. I don't know.
That's okay.
Commodity, whatever.
Yeah. So, but that was 4 years ago, and then you said also that NASA, and yeah, the link was perfect. NASA had also used that picture, the same picture, back 10 years ago, back in 2008, when they were talking about some satellite damage or something like that, or shuttle damage, or whatever damage it was. Same picture.
Or it was like the solar max. It was like damage to a solar panel.
Right.
Or something like that.
Right. It was ridiculous. And then the Russians came out and said that we did the whole deliberately so that we could cancel the mission or prematurely. It's like what? And it's like that's the rumor.
Yeah, that's it. That they're saying that it was sabotaged.
Yeah.
The space station leak was sabotaged
By our own guys.
Well, they don't even know who did it. They're just saying it was some mentally unstable astronaut or cosmonaut.
So now it's the whole ISS is turned into a giant space version of the game Clue. Awesome.
Right. So now we have a suicidal astronaut.
Yeah. So it was the blonde guy with the drill in the observatory. You know, it's like, really? That's what we're. Yeah, an unstable. Yeah, because that story's going to get traction over here.
Yeah, so they're saying that that somebody was drilling the hole, and then they said that it looked like the hole was drilled with a wavering hand. And then, and get this. Okay, Alexander Zalesnyakov. I can't say that Russian name. A former space industry engineer told the news agency that drilling the hole in zero gravity would be nearly impossible in that part of the spacecraft.
Why? What would zero gravity have anything to do with it? You just push against it. It's not like you couldn't get leverage.
Well, but think about it though. If you're drilling against something hard, you're pushing against that. I mean, how do you push against that? You would have to
Well, you'd have to have I know. You'd have to have your arm braced against something. I mean, you could do it if you wanted to. But the point is it's a dumb story. We share that station with the Russians? Sometimes.
Yeah, we share it with a bunch of people.
So what do they? Is it? Oh my God, I hate this story so much already. So the Russians are saying that it's turning into like a sci-fi movie now, where it's like, okay, who's trying to sabotage the station? You're adding drama to something that in fact, Peanut Gallery says we even share it with Japan. Oh, there it is. It was the Japanese, obviously. Whatever. Yeah. Oh, I hate the story. I hate that it's getting. I will say this.
It's getting more ridiculous.
I hope that the band Remedy at least makes some sort of statement, considering it was their album cover. And it just looks like, you know what it looks like? I've stared at this picture a few times. It looks like a tiny, tiny bullet hole when looked at through an electron microscope. It's got that sort of contrast, that electron microscope contrast to it.
Yeah. Well, I think that is what kind of picture it is.
Yeah. That's what it looks like, which means it's really, really small. Not just normal small. I mean, ridiculously small. And but when you blow it up, anything with an electron microscope, you look at a tick electron microscope, and you'd swear that we were being invaded by giant insect things.
Right.
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 Yeah, I didn't know where I was going with that. So anyway, it's a horrible story, and I hate. I'm hope it does. I hope that the traction dies pretty soon, and excuse me. I hope that the American media, at least somebody calls Hadfield out. Somebody calls Hadfield out on using that picture, because let's face it. And even if they come back and say, here's the problem with this. Even if they come back and say, oh, well, he didn't mean to send that picture. He just grabbed that off the internet. It's like, no, 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 no. No. Hadn't we said something? Hadn't the Flat Earth community called him out and said, look, you're using a picture from at least 10 years ago? Hadn't we called him out? The American media would have absolutely run it as gospel. They would have said, "Oh yeah, that's the hole from the space station." You know, in fact,
well, that's
that
what
one
they started to do.
I know. No, nope. That picture's at least. In fact, you probably have your suspicions. How old do you think it is? How far back do you think it goes?
Somebody sent me something that they found that it was from possibly as far back as 1984.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be about right, because we've had electron microscope pictures since what, the 70s? So sure, why not? And it took me a little time. You know, I used to do internet research for a living, and it took me a little time to find that picture, you know, the original NASA snapshot, but there was no date tied to it. So it's like, okay, and it was like available. It was already on multiple sites, you know, distribution sites. But it's like, oh yeah, use this picture, register with our site. It's like, what? Now, where the NASA stamp came from, I have no idea, because that NASA stamp, thank God, the only saving grace was the NASA stamp had no indicator of date. But either way, it was ridiculous. And the Russian story, but where was that on RT? I didn't even look.
Well, the article that I'm looking at right now is phys.org.
Phys.org. All right. Well, yeah. I'll look around for it, and hopefully I'll find something.
The link if you want, but I mean,
I know.
Here's the thing. First of all, they're telling everybody that it was caused by a micrometeor, right?
Right.
I mean, it just starts so ridiculous to begin with. Then the guy plugs it with his finger and tape.
Right.
And now it's not even caused by a micrometeor. Now it's sabotaged by a mentally unstable astronaut
who wants to die.
Trying to sabotage the Soyuz. Who wants to die?
Who
Yes.
wants to die and take them all out with him? Because that's how you would do it. I hate to tell you this, guys, but there are 20 different ways you could kill everyone in that place. You wouldn't need to drill a hole in the side of it. In fact, that's nothing compared to what you could do. I mean, you could sabotage the air filtration system.
All you have to do is open the flappy baloney door.
The flappy baloney door. Mess with the CO2 scrubber. Oh, I don't know. Change the telemetry. We've all watched the sci-fi movies. There's all sorts of ways to crash a spaceship to kill everyone on board. It does not take much. Anyone has any doubts, watch, what was that fun movie with Lawrence Fishburne? Event Horizon. Watch that movie. CNN said, Peanut Gallery, by the way, give her the quote before she hangs up. Fine, I'll give her the quote. We'll take you to the break, and then after break, we'll pick up 512 area code, and then another 2, then 214, then probably 651, then 714 after that. Just so you guys know, they're listening. We got about 90 seconds. For the quote for you is, the most useful piece of learning for the uses of life is to unlearn what is untrue. And that was from some Greek guy. And he also says, I'm not going to read that name because I would get tongue-tied if I did that. And the other one, he says, CNN has the actual photo of the hole. Okay. I'd love to see it. But anyway, if anyone wants to look that up.
And what kind of drill bit would this guy be using? I mean, how long of a drill bit do you have to try to get from the inside of the Soyuz to the outside?
Right. I'm sorry, drilling a hole in the side, even if if you're mentally unstable, look, you'd be found out in 2 seconds if that was real, right? And I know, people in submarines, like you can only go down to, like submarine people, they do a psychological profile because you can get a little bit of, claustrophobic fever type thing happening there. I'm sure the same thing goes when you're looking at astronauts, but it doesn't really matter because no one's up there. All right. You got 30 seconds. Give some shout outs before I have a brain aneurysm. And I need to drink during the break.
Shout out to Caroline, Zulu 1, Effie Disciple, I Spy NASA Lies, and everybody else.
Right on.
Zulu's chat.
Cool. You should call in more often.
Okay, well, I do what I can.
All right. I'm just saying you should. All right, 5 seconds. Thank you, Karen. It was lovely speaking with you, and I'm sure we will talk many times before the break.
Yes. Ta-ta for now.
Ready.